Hey guys, it's Sean, and I have a theory about Avengers Endgame and what we learned from the end of Infinity War. I want to get into it all, but before we do me a favor, go down, hit subscribe, it'll help you keep up to date with everything we do here on CinemaBlend about Marvel. First off, I have to say that this theory sort of belongs to Rob Liefeld, who mentioned it when he was a guest on our ReelBlend podcast, and if you want to listen to that, you can find the link in the comments down below. And what Rob said is that the people who dusted maybe didn't die. And I think that that was such an interesting way that he phrased it, and it's been in my head ever since he said it. But the more that we thought about it, for various reasons, I kind of now believe that the people who dusted are safe someplace, that they were removed out of the storyline and tucked away somewhere where Marvel Studios could access them later. And it's in fact the members who we saw survive the snap that are actually in real sort of danger and have to figure out their fates by the time Avengers Endgame reaches its conclusion.
Until then, stay out of the way.
Now, there are a number of different reasons why I looked at the people who had dusted and the people who survived and came up with this theory, and it's a little bit more business-driven than it is creative-driven. When you look at the names of the heroes who Marvel specifically chose to dust, and believe me, this is a very deliberate choice on their part, you see names like Black Panther, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, most of the members of the Guardians, big names that all have something really specific in common, and that's the fact that we already know they are due to appear in upcoming Marvel projects. Now, here's where the business side cheats a little bit and cuts into the anticipation of what's going to happen at the end of Endgame. I know when you watched a lot of these characters dust, you thought, well, there's no way Black Panther's gone forever. His movie's just made over $1 billion, so clearly he's going to come back. Same with Spider-Man. We've already seen a trailer for Spider-Man Far From Home, which is odd because last time we saw Spidey in the MCU, he was fading to dust. Well, if Marvel needs all of these specific characters to be around, and believe me, the Guardians are supposed to come back for Guardians 3, Doctor Strange is coming back for Doctor Strange 2, then maybe those characters were taken out of the story and placed someplace safe so that they could be used later after whatever happens in Endgame. To further that theory, I want to talk about who's left behind. Creatively, there's definitely the fact that the original Avengers, Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, and Hawkeye are left surviving after the snap. And potentially, Marvel wanted Endgame to focus on the original team to somehow resolve everything that happened with Thanos. I think that that would be some nice closure to everything that's happened in the MCU so far. But when you get into some other characters who could be key points of sequels moving forward, like Okoye or M'Baku in Black Panther, or even War Machine and how he might tie into his relationship with Tony Stark, you start to see that these are sacrifices that Marvel could make without necessarily totally destroying the future of these important franchises. I still believe wholeheartedly in this theory, but there's one character in particular who's kind of messing it up for me, and it's Scott Lang.
That's me. Can you buzz me in?
If the people who dusted theoretically are safe someplace, and the people who are left behind are the ones who are doomed to potentially not survive past Endgame, then that means that Scott Lang is one of the doomed. And that means that they took half of the team from Ant-Man and the Wasp, and they left Hope Van Dyne and the original Ant-Man and the Wasp and put them someplace safe. And I don't think Marvel's ready to necessarily give up on Paul Rudd as Ant-Man. I think they're going to continue to tell Ant-Man stories, and I don't think they're ready to sort of pass the mantle to another actor, so they're going to want Paul Rudd around. The other wrinkle is Scarlett Johansson, who's potentially going to play Black Widow in a solo movie. But everything that we've been hearing about that is that the Black Widow movie might be a prequel, which means she could be part of that, yes, I survived Infinity War, but I'm really in danger scenario, and yet still come back and play the character in a prequel that's set on an earlier part of the timeline.
It's a tough way to live.
It's a good way not to die, though.
I already hear what you're saying. The Guardians team is a little bit messed up by this theory. And it's true that Rocket and Nebula were left behind while the other founding members of the team dusted. Not Gamora, I think she's officially dead. She got sacrificed by Thanos. But there is the strong possibility that Guardians 3 never even happens, with the James Gunn problem that Marvel has run into. And also, if Guardians 3 does come back, it would be sort of heartfelt and emotional if Rocket wasn't part of the team. Nebula's kind of at the end of her journey. She really just wanted vengeance against Thanos. But if the Guardians have to continue on in a different sort of formation and they don't have Gamora and they don't have Rocket because this theory that I have in my head sort of plays out, I think that would be a little bit more devastating for fans. The beauty about comics is that this theory could really go in any different direction, and it can change at the drop of a hat once we start to figure out what's really happening in Endgame. But for now, it's fun to just speculate because we're killing time as we get all the way through till April 26th and finally are able to see what Joe and Anthony Russo have in store. So, what did you think of this theory? Do you think they were way off the mark, or were you starting to think this too as you rewatched Infinity War for the 50th time? Do me a favor, head down to the comments, share your thoughts on it, tell us that we're completely wrong, or weigh in and tell us that we're kind of on the right track. And while you're down there, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. It'll help you keep up with everything we're doing here at CinemaBlend.